This video is going to be a little bit different to my others. No effects, no different angles. It's just going to be me going straight to the point with a few cuts in between and showing you the brand which I bought and turned around in just over 3.5 months. So first of all, let me give you a little bit of context. A few months ago, I was running some of my brands and looking on two major platforms, one being Flippa and the other being Acquire. Now, these two platforms allow you to buy and sell online businesses, whether they're agencies, SaaS companies, or e-commerce businesses, which I was particularly looking for at the time. Now, you see, I was actually looking for a business that was already doing pretty decent numbers and wasn't really looking for a project or something that can be done up. But I came across this cleaning supplies brand, which has been doing pretty good numbers for the past 2.5, 3 months. But nobody was actually going to go ahead and buy it. The thing is, when a business is so young and doing so well, most people just assume it's going to be a pump and dump. And for this particular brand, the margins weren't great at the time. The business was actually losing money and the owner just wanted to get rid of it. So after a little bit of negotiating back and forth, we actually settled on a price. What due diligence is just looking into the details of the financials of the business and making sure everything aligns to what the owner is saying. Now, this whole process, looking through bank statements, Shopify payouts, and Facebook ads, took a little over 2 weeks to fully complete. But by the time we got to the end, the brand was actually already doing better in terms of numbers of sales, but actually losing even more money. So we were able to get a slight price reduction on the buying price. Now we went ahead and made the exchange over escrow, and then I had ownership of this new brand. So let's jump over to the dashboard right now and we'll talk through the changes that I made and the numbers that it was doing previously. Now into the dashboard, you can see sales are a little over 750K until November of last year, but I'm actually no longer running this brand. I'm still pretty involved in the process, but actually managing and owning myself, I'm not. So as you can see on the sales were pumping pretty well in January and February. So in March, the business was making a little under $130,000 a month in sales. However, it was still making pretty decent margins then. In the previous months, it was still making good money, but due to the limited amount of sales, you can't forecast any financials because there's just such a limited data set. And as you can see here, it increased quite a lot. And you would think then in the next month of April, it would also increase, but it actually didn't. And that's the month where we actually went ahead and bought in. So the main goals buying into this brand was to, number one, increase the margins so then we could secure more profit, but then also go ahead and expand the product range, add upsells, and increase the AOV on the store. In May, we continued to scale the ads and we actually performed very, very well, making a pretty decent sum of profit. And then in the following months, we came across a bit of an issue where more people were finding out about the product itself, which is actually this product here, and it's a clean and mop. It was very, very popular on Facebook and still is now, but more and more people are getting involved. So we're looking for other sales channels to potentially explore. Pinterest was one of those options, but we didn't go ahead and do that. And I'll explain that later on, as well as what we did as far as the exit of the brand. So just jumping into the numbers further, 7% were actually added to cart, and we were having many people go onto the upsell, which was the upsell to secure more mop heads to the brand. We can dive in further to the product page as well. Very, very simply laid out, no custom designs, but done very, very nicely. And I actually had an agency to do this because previously the site was very, very poor. And there were a few issues regarding upsells and other issues with the store as well. So now one of the major issues that we had was more competition coming on board, copying our ad creatives and just running the same product again and again. But the type of product this was, we saw longevity in the product because it's not something that's going to die out. People are always going to need mops and always going to need cleaning supplies. And at the same time, we had a customer base a little over 50,000 people. There's not 50,000 customers, but 50,000 people that have gone ahead and reached checkout, added to cart, inserted their name in our email newsletters to get a free percentage off, and various other tools to secure customer information and then ultimately retarget through SMS and email campaigns. Now, going into this business, I set the expectation as quite a lot of work to do, but it turned out we outsourced a lot of this, and there still was a bulk effort, but the time involved didn't actually need to be that much. Now, one of the major things that we did is change over our supplier because this product is actually quite a large bulky mop, and we found a different product that did it in the same way that was able to be folded down into a much smaller amount. Originally, we were shipping via a cardboard box and we changed that to a plastic bag, further reducing the shipping costs, and we were actually able to reflect that in the selling price as well. So with all of these changes in place, we were able to increase the margin between 5 to 20%. Now, a lot of you may be saying 5 to 20% is quite a large gap. However, at this time, the shipping cost was fluctuating so much. Sometimes we were able to ship this product from Hong Kong. It was actually made in Shenzhen and then taken across the land border to Hong Kong and then shipped onwards to the west coast of the US for as little as $6 a time. But with the shipping costs increasing, sometimes this price went up to $20 shipped. We were able to combat this through email, SMS, and abandoned checkout campaigns just to secure any of those lost sales which we may have actually encountered. So from acquiring in April, we actually ran the brand up to July until we received an email from one of our customers. Now, if you've ever run a dropshipping business or are thinking about it, you've probably heard of these horrible customer complaints via emails and sending a chargeback, asking for multiple free items in return, or other complaints coming to the email. But this email was a little little bit different. They were actually looking to go ahead and acquire the brand as an expansion of their e-commerce portfolio and other businesses that they currently run. At the time, it sounded a little bit sketchy, but I thought if somebody's taken enough time to write me a full email, they clearly detail parts of the store that they liked, it might be worth 10 or 15 minutes on a call. Fast forward just 10 days later, and we were acquired for $75,000. Previously purchasing the business a little under $35,000 and spending between $10,000 to $15,000 on making the improvements in the store. However, these costs were spread across all of my businesses, so I can't really take that into play, but if you were going to do something similar, that's the amount that it would cost you to make those changes in place, from logistics, supply chain, and website upgrades to everything else involved in the running of the store. And then on top of that, we had the profits from running the business for the last 3 months as well. Now, in those 4 months, from looking into the business to eventually selling it, I learned a few lessons. One being that I basically created a miniature private equity firm, buying damaged businesses, renovating them, and then go ahead and running or exiting them. And this is a serious opportunity right now because it can really be done on any scale. Whether you have $2,000 or $3,000 to invest in buying a business and making changes, or you're right on the other end and you're spending $2 or $3 million like the private equity firms. At the moment, there are tens of thousands of Shopify stores on these various different marketplaces and platforms, and simply all you have to do is go and have a look. And now, if you don't have any budget, you can actually use seller financing, where the seller of the business will actually loan you funds from the business's run-ins, and then you go and pay off from managing the business. So within 1, 2, or 3 years, you could actually buy a business with $0 down. With 9 out of 10 small businesses not being sold within the first year, and tons just being shut down because owners simply give up in selling and make it through that whole process, there's lots of opportunity out there. Simply for me, an opportunity as good as this one and worked out so well doesn't come around so often. However, making a 20, 30, or 40% return in a matter of 3 or 4 months is simply much easier than a lot of people think. There's lots of opportunity out there, and with the right skill set from developing your own dropshipping and e-commerce stores, this could be the way to fast forward your success. So I know this video is a little bit different from my normal ones, with no special effects and just the pure deep value inside, but I will see you in the next video. Ciao.